JB here. We're Wednesday, August 23, 22 on this Friday afternoon. Talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P in the red, although well off the lows here. Nice bounce since 11 o'clock. Continuation, right? Be four straight sessions of red. I don't know what's happening. I always get the bomb shelter ready, dig those holes. The market crash is upon us. Joking aside, right? We have a pull here, and the market has been melting pretty nicely to the upside since for quite some time. So see a little pull here, surprising, but not really surprising, right? So when I was doing the watch this on Monday and just talking about it, it's like I figured some chop, then some caution into Friday, and that's kind of how it's playing out. I hate to see downside, right? I mean, not hate, especially when you have no puts on or no protection. Uh, but not only that, it brings out the fear mongers, right? And then it kind of like uh, I don't know, just it's never fun. It's never fun days when it's down. Well, unless you're completely loaded to the gills on puts and we have a big pull. Anyway, so take a look at the SPY now, right? Almost so start of the day we opened kind of flat and similar to what we happened on Monday and Tuesday. Monday we held the ground, chopped around, very tight range, closed slightly in the red. And Tuesday found pressure, uh, able to find a little bounce, but rough session. We weren't able to hold the gains, and then here we are today, flat open, and then just the selling took off. And I think some of it is you read the headlines, people are worried about weeks and months of profits and some of these names just disappearing, and we've seen that. I mean, that's what happens over the years. Some, especially the high flyers, the momentum names. Plantier obviously is one of those names that you can probably be, the poster child of this current bull market. I guess would be that would be one of the leading candidates, right? So you see that sell off. So it's just like it becomes like this snowball effect. And then so at the open, it was like it almost felt like, and I was saying on the rant yesterday, I did my little tweet on Tuesday afternoon. Always be hedging, right? It feels like it's always be hedging moment. And when I say that, it's not like I'm expecting a huge crash, but I just think there's an opportunity for like a greed reset or a small pull. And that's kind of what we got so far. So there's no catalyst really. You could see, yields are kind of flat. I mean, it just semi names and AI names just started and chip names just start to fall, and the Nasdaq's been pulling it, and now other names are falling with it. But ironically enough, it's you look under, you start peeling back the onion, and there's just like indicators like, oh, it's not too bad. I mean, yesterday was the VIX only up 3% or whatever on some of these swings, and now's the amount of stocks trading uh, over there. 200 50-day moving average and 200-day moving average on the S&P keeps going up. Still green today, like a couple more pass over the 200-day moving average, and then you look at the VIX, and the VIX is flat as a pancake. So I always try to have a little positive spin to keep things in context. Otherwise, you get feared. Right? Sell all your bullish positions and you load the puts. So maybe there's some opportunity here. We'll see what happens tomorrow. So today we had the Fed minutes 2 o'clock. I don't think there were any surprises. Just you're able to see a little more detail and color on the dissenters, and they just talked. The folks who wanted the 0.25% rate cut, they said, oh, well, inflation has come down. We think the tariffs might be somewhat temporary situation. We want to get ahead of a possible slowdown in the economy, and they thought it was the right time to cut rates. So that was kind of the argument. And then the argument on the other side is like, now you see all the headlines, right? And all the headlines like, oh, the Fed in their minutes, they see inflation coming and consumers paying tariffs, right? That's pretty much the theme, which is funny. And I always use this, it's not the best analogy, but right during COVID, when the proverbial crap was hitting the fan and they did all this stimulus and then the inflation started picking up, and Janet Yellen used to say, this inflation is transitory, right? It's just a short-term blip, and that turned out not far from it. And then we had, thankfully, inflation was able to be managed a little bit, and it didn't go bonkers. But here's the same Fed, before it was Janet Yellen. Now you have Powell, and similar thing. Oh, we think inflation is going higher. I was like, how can you, without a doubt, just trust that statement and headline, right? They're having discussions, and then if you read the Fed minutes, it's, oh, their contacts at these businesses are saying eventually they're going to pass on costs. So maybe they do, right? But what was it this morning? I was talking about like the McDonald's menu, right? The McDonald's is working out with their franchisees to lower the value meal or create value meals that are going to be 15% less as a bundle. than the overlying price. So price is going to come down at McDonald's. I mean, obviously they're not importing their ingredients, right? There's no tariffs on the potatoes. So for the fries or the Coca-Cola, which is going to have sugar cane now, right? Joking aside. So we'll see how this all plays out. Take everything with a grain of salt. I'll continue to be open to both sides of the trade. I feel like this is similar to the end of July into August, right? I was bullish for a long time, especially after the April 7th Liberation Day. Was cautiously optimistic, right? Playing a lot of calls. Then once we started getting a little turbulent at the end of July, got some puts. I have to go back to see exact timing and where those are on the chart. And then it just felt like it again this week. Like, okay, maybe there's a little consolidation, some opportunity for downside. So we'll see how Friday plays out. I think it'll be a big deal Friday if we can get through Jackson Hole with Fed Chair Powell and he doesn't do anything surprising, able to kind of coax like a little confidence that there'll be a rate cut in September and go from there. That'd be the ideal scenario. All right, so that's kind of overall markets. Take a look at a SPY today, and there's a lot of indicators I use to help. The chart is a history lesson, right? That's so when I look at a chart, that's what it is. It's where buyers and sellers come in, and then I always look at the moving averages, right? Because that's kind of your trend. Bollinger Bands for oversold and overbought conditions, or consolidation. Momentum indicators. That's kind of trend based, but then also candlesticks. And I'm not some folks live and die by candlesticks. I mean, back in the day, I used to follow some folks who used to be like really big. They'd all these different names for harami candles and all this different stuff. But today we have a possible hammer reversal, right? So 4 straight days to the downside, including today. If we don't close green or we get close to flat, you could say it's a reversal. And we had a hammer reversal. I mean, technically only 2 weeks ago, but so we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm still open to both sides. And what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Walmart. I think Walmart takes more importance here. The thing is, the more I looked at Target earnings and stuff, I'm like, I don't know if that Target earnings were that bad. And I think some of it obviously disappointment that they're going to continue to show declining top line growth. But the other part of it is that everybody's all disappointed about this CEO appointment, which it's someone who's inside the company. So when you have a company that needs to have some kind of kick in the butt and turn things around, and I don't know that Target really needs a turnaround per se, but they need someone to get it back into growth and revitalize the company. You would think they would take someone from the outside, but I'm like, hey, maybe the guy on the inside will help transition that quicker. So a lot of the move in the downside today on Target, I think, is some disappointment I didn't bring from someone from the outside. I mean, there's always great examples, in Walmart spiking here into a high day. Hopefully, it drags Target. But it brings up great example. Obviously, Chipotle Mexican Grill is a great example twice, right? So Ryan Nickel came from Taco Bell to Chipotle, saved that brand. I used to trade Chipotle a lot back in the day, both puts and calls. And then similar story. Starbucks, lethargic, struggling. Boom. Who gets poached from Chipotle? I mean, who gets poached for Starbucks? Brian Nickel from Chipotle to Starbucks. That's just one example. A lot of times you could see how bad the sentiment is around the leadership on a company when the CEO either gets appointed or fired, right? And when you see it's supposed to be a great feeling when you're CEO and you see your stock skyrocket like Microsoft did after Ballmer left. But like great examples of people looking, hey, this company needs new leadership. So anyway, on to Target in a minute. But that's kind of overall market. But Walmart tomorrow is going to be important. And now, especially you see the Fed, all these headlines with the tariffs. I think the most important thing that Walmart's going to have to address is this tariff situation. But you take a look at Lowe's, Home Depot, all great earnings. So, all right, that's overall market. So, individual names, ABH, always be hedging. I should probably get a T-shirt and trademark before someone steals another one of my great mottos. But I put that on Tuesday, got those Broadcom puts, and just like at the end of July, Broadcom was at $300, went all the way to 280. Yesterday, Broadcom was 297, 298, all the way down to 281.87. So I'll continue to use that one as a hedge if I find breaks of support on the market and SPY and so on and so forth. So take a look pretty much all the way down to its 50-day moving average, 280.58. I mean, that escalated quickly. So the puts I was able to get, did I get those? Why do I have my days messed up? Why do I think today's Thursday for some reason? Oh man, sorry about that, folks. All right. So so I was able to close some of the puts yesterday, and then this morning we had the gap down, and then just continuation. close some more out for, I don't even have the numbers up here correctly. Uh, but anyway, couple 100%. So, and I still have one or two runners here. Two contracts left. I sometimes I like to close them out at the bottom, but I'm just going to hold on to them because you never know. And um, let's see here. I'm sorry, I'm just getting distracted here looking at some of these moves. So yeah, so it's sitting here at 290. Tomorrow's gonna be a little. Well, actually, it's Friday morning, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. So, I was trying to rationalize: do I close the last few out? And I'm not. I'll just hold them. Sometimes it allows me to get some bounce trades as well. So, they're still solidly green, and I'll just continue to hold those. But nice to make some profits on the way down and offset some call positions. And then AMD. So as we continued to roll, we broke under 636 on the spot. That was like a key spot. I'm like, oh, got to get some more hedge positions. Went and got those AMD puts. Able to lock some in for 100% to cover some costs. And similar, I'll just hold those two. I mean, it's probably going to bounce, but at the same token, you just don't know. And maybe if we do get some kind of reversal and gap down tomorrow at the open, or some gap down on Friday morning, those will come to pay. At least maybe not get down to the strike, but uh, we'll offer some protection. So that's AMD. And then on the flip side, a Target, right? So I was putting in a watch list this morning for a bounce, and then I was in the chat room like, I just wanted to get him. It was trading in 196, then 95, then in the 96s, and you watch Walmart going. I'm like, this is probably going to go, and then I was trying to find the best risk reward strike. And I wouldn't say there's an ideal strike to get on a lotto because you just never know. But I was looking at the premium crush on some of the calls over $100, got those 102 strikes. And then I was able to close some out for 100% to cover costs. And now they're up about 150. I didn't look. If it gets up to two, if they get over 60 cents, I'm going to close some more. They're getting close. And then I'll just ride the rest. I was actually looking to get, if I get this some more out for 60 cents or more, I'm probably going to get some 105s. Only because to me, it's like, same way I got the Palo Alto puts for reversal yesterday. It's the target calls. It's like this. People are probably going to start to look at the numbers. Hey, not too bad. If this is kind of like a wake up call, new leadership comes in, maybe it trades 105 plus, and then couple that with Walmart, right? So if Walmart can at least alleviate the last of the big retailers, alleviate concerns, although I think you still have Costco. Yeah, I think it's off to the races. So I'll continue to hold those. So nice to make some money on the call side. And then other names, Reddit, just insane. I mean, yesterday was like 226. I'm like, oh, wow, 226. And then it goes all the way down. And why don't I have this on my main streamer? Because, sorry, I'm very distracted. It went all the way down to 205. It's down here. It's back up here at 218. So, I keep talking about the implied volatility, or the implied move, the straddle on Reddit. It's like 7% implied move. So it makes it tough on a risk reward basis. So I'm like, let me just keep an eye on those 240s. And even when it was 215, that they were 50 cents, 55, then down to 40, then back up to 50, and now the 240s are back to flat, even though the stock's up here at 219. So maybe it gaps higher tomorrow. I don't know, but I'll probably just sit on my hands there. So that kind of helps me rationalize not adding some bounce calls there. MDB disappointing. I mean, all the way back under the lows of this week and Friday's open. So just watching to see that at some point I think that'll bounce, but only have 2 more days left. Could be a nice lotto into the end of the week. And Lulu, relative strength here today, strong. I mean, that's not the funny thing, but you'll like similar to yesterday when my watch list, when we were selling off, or I mean, wouldn't call it a major sell, but the Nasdaq was down over 1%. There was a lot of names on my watch list that were green, and it's like over 50% right now on my watch list is green. And some of that too is biotech. I don't know if you've seen like Regeneron's solidly green today. Axum, one of my favorite biotech names. At some point, I got to get some strikes on that one. Gilead's green. I'm trying to see some of these other names today. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of some of this. So I'm just being very cautious until maybe Friday after Fed Chair Powell kind of eases concerns. Maybe I'll be a little more aggressive on the call side, but don't be surprised if I do some spec lotto trades. Obviously, Lemonade's one of those, all the way down to $53 today. Bounced back up to 55, sitting here at $56. If we find some footing, I could see that play out. But was I saying on the rant this morning? I just have a feeling we're like 631. Maybe we're going to hit back on the SPY at some point this week. So we got down to 632.95. Yeah, I think that's it. Sorry, I'm all jumbled this afternoon. I don't know why my thoughts are all jumbled. I'm getting distracted. All right, that's it. Hopefully, if I can get those target 102 some more out for over 60 cents for uh to cover some more profits, I'll look. I might get some 105s just because they're inexpensive right now and they won't be inexpensive tomorrow. And who knows? Analysts haven't really had a chance to do much. I mean, Jeffries came out, maintained their buy and lowered their price target, but they kept it at 115. I think it heads higher tomorrow. So, all right. So have a great day, folks. I'll be back rock and roll.